Welcome back, guys. This is the King of Weaves here, and this is What If Naruto was raised in Mount Miyoboku. I don't think I ever finished this What If, and if I did, you can tell me in the description below, in the comments below. And if I haven't, well, I'm going to remake it as it was around like 5 months ago that I made this. Anyways, now. Kinda dying. Anyway, we'll get straight into it. We begin this What If with the Jiraiya actually caring a bit more for Naruto's well-being, as he knows that it's hard to be a Jinchuriki and people will discriminate, people will be very, very hostile towards you, and so he decides not to bring that upon Naruto, and he brings upon himself to take care of Naruto by himself. He doesn't care how, he'll get help from Manpa. Tsunade actually heard of Jiraiya adopting Naruto, and she actually returned to their village just to see what's going on because she never thought that her teammate would ever do something like that. He's quite the fool, and now he's going to take care of a newborn. That's more foolish than she ever thought anyone could ever get, as he can barely look after himself. Now look, he's trying to look after a kid. She comes back to beat the shit out of him, telling him that it's impossible for him to raise a child on his own. Ain't no way. What are you doing? Are you trying to kill the child? And of course, Jiraiya shows the legal papers that he's actually the godfather, and Tsunade is actually quite surprised that, Minato and Kushina, yeah, she knew about them. Yes, she did. In fact, they did ask her to actually return just for Naruto's birth, just in case something happened, and to make it easier on Tsunade. And she just said no. I can't make, childbirth any less painful than what it already is. Ain't no way. I should stop saying that. It doesn't sound well. Good. Anyways, now Tsunade accepted the fact that her teammate, the ones that she always called a fool, has already got a child, although they're 50, and he's already, starting to change, whereas she's still the drunk as she always was ever since Naoki's and Nan's death, and still gambles away her life. And anywho, now, as in, she gambles so much that, it's like she's wasting her life at this point, like literally. And anywho, now, we then go on to see Naruto growing up with Jiraiya, as Jiraiya would teach him a lot of things about the world. And of course, Naruto would always be intrigued. He would always be intrigued by the stories that Jiraiya always used to tell him. And of course, you'd call him, dad at this point. And anyways, now, Naruto and Jiraiya would then, at the age of 2, Naruto could talk and walk and everything. He's kind of a prodigy, and especially because Jiraiya actually started teaching him from whenever he could walk and talk, which was around a year and a half. And anyways, now, yes, Naruto's he's quite strong and quite, very, very smart, as his brain develops faster than other kids for some reason. I mean, my cousin's 2 and she can barely say mommy and daddy. And anyways, now, of course, Naruto and Jiraiya would start training in Mount Miyoboku, and Naruto would grow up with the toads. He would eat what the toads eat, and of course, he's never really tasted ramen in his life. And anyway, now we'll have a time skip of 3 years. Naruto's now 5 years old, and he's very strong. He's already getting level. He's actually a high tier getting level at the age of 5 because of all the training Ma and Pa actually gave to Naruto, and especially because the Elder Toad says that that child will one day be the savior that this world will need. And he makes sure that Ma and Pa take care of the child properly, teach him well, teach him all the techniques in Sage Jutsu and everything. And Naruto could already use a little bit of Sage mode, just for a short little 5-second burst, which is more than enough for Naruto to end someone's life, to be honest. But we're not going to go into that now. Now, of course, Naruto would be training in the Rasengan for since the age of 5, and Jiraiya would come and visit every single week. And Naruto understood that his well adoptive father or his godfather was busy, and Naruto would know the summoning jutsu as he tried it outside of Mount Miyoboku, and he's very strong, literally, because he's been training with toads who can literally one shot a lot of ninjas, a lot of Jonins. Let's be honest. I mean, if Gamabunta was able to go up against Shukaku, like it was kind of an even fight, if I remember properly. But of course, Shukaku was stronger because he's a tail beast. But still, being able to like even match up against the tail beast is a very impressive well, a very impressive feat, not deed. And anyways, now of course. Naruto would be training under them, so he'd be quite strong anyway. And of course, they wouldn't just allow their toadling. Would that be the right way? Youngling. But of course, they wouldn't just allow him to turn out weak, as they would have some sort of self-esteem and pride to train someone well. And then now, of course. Naruto and Gamakichi and Gamakichi and his brother, I forgot his name. I'll have to Gamatatsu. There we go. They them two, of course, being Naruto's best friends as they grew up together. Of course, there would be Naruto's two summons. Yes, yeah, Naruto could summon both of them, and of course he could summon Gamabunta as well. But that's like Jiraiya's one, and then now. Of course, Naruto and the two would, of course, you know, train to. Oh well, the three would train together a lot. And anywho, now Naruto would then, at the age of 8, would be enrolled in the academy. He would return to the Leaf Village. Yes, and here, of course, the Uchiha massacre would have still happened by now. Naruto would not be known by many people. Just that uh, they would find out eventually that he's actually the Nanto's Jinchuriki. And anyways, now that would make it harder for Naruto to live in this village, as they actually hated him because of him being one of the reasons apparently that the full Hokage died. And anyways, now of course Naruto wasn't having his why you guys hating on me, and once they tried to attack him, Naruto would easily be able to dodge and weave around them. And now Naruto would be living alone, of course. You know Jiraiya telling him that he has to grow up on his own. Remember, eventually he'll have to live alone, and he's trained along Mount Miyoboku, and the rest of his Sage Mode training he can do it outside of it. And Naruto was okay with it. And Naruto doesn't hate Jiraiya for doing this. In fact, he sees this as more like training, and plus he won't always hurt. Well, Jiraiya would always tell him the tales of the four great Kage, and Naruto's dream would be to become one of the the greatest Kage ever to have led the Leaf Village. Now, of course, Naruto would have joined the academy, and he would be like 3 weeks late. I'll say here he'll be 3 weeks late, and a lot of people would be intrigued by him, especially, well, Shikamaru, as he saw that Naruto was quite smart. Naruto didn't really show much of his, brains, as he didn't really like to show off. But Naruto seemed like he understood most of the topics that every time they learned, and whenever it came to jutsu or shuriken throwing, sorry, not jutsu training, shuriken throwing, Naruto would get the bullseye, not the bulls. Sorry, he would get the bullseye, and anyways, now he would be at the top of his game there. But of course, there is someone else like Sasuke, who actually is quite good at it as well. And anyways, now, Shikamaru would become Naruto's friend, and Naruto would actually stop and like coming first in the Shuriken and the Shuriken throwing training thingy. And anyways, now Of course, Naruto and Shikamaru would actually begin training together a lot, literally. Every single day they would meet up to train together, and Naruto and Shikamaru would be quite strong. Naruto would already be ahead of Shikamaru. In fact, he'd be nearing Chunin level at this point. It's been 3 years since Naruto was actually training, or it's been, sorry, not 3 years, it's been 6 years, and anyway, now Naruto's physique would be on top levels, like literally top of best of the best, to be honest. And anyway, now Choji eventually joins their training, as Choji is pretty much best friends with Shikamaru. And anyways, now Naruto and Shikamaru would train, and also Choji. And anyway, now there would be now 10, and Naruto would see that there is someone who's well, actually been following him around. Here, of course, Hinata would actually just have a normal crush on Naruto. She would like how he's always laid back, and he's not really show off or anything like Sasuke. She doesn't really like the personality that Sasuke has. But anyways, of course, now, although no one really came to her aid when she got lost, when she was 4 and when she was getting bullied, it was her caretaker or her guardian. And then even now, anyways, now of course, uh Hinata would see Naruto train with Shikamaru and Choji every single day, and the three would be pretty much the like four strongest, because Sasuke's up there as well. Sasuke's been training like a madman every single day, and now of course Naruto would uh, be very strong as he finished his stage mode training on his own in his own free time and everything. Now Sasuke would actually have unlocked the two Tomoe Sharingan by now, and anyways, now I know Naruto doesn't seem like he's changed much, but you'll see later on. And anyways, now Naruto would then go on to, well, pass his final exam, or uh the graduation exam, or the final exam for the academy actually, well, started. Now, Naruto would be placed in Team 7, although he didn't really want to be placed in Team 7, because, he doesn't really hang out with any of them, or he doesn't talk to them. That's what I mean. And now, Naruto would have to deal with it, as he can't really say no to it. And anywho, of course, they meet their sensei on the next day, and Naruto was wasn't pissed off that he was that late, as Naruto the night before he didn't really get to sleep much, so he got a good sleep in, a good 3 hours sleep, as they were meant to meet them by 9, but he came in at 12. And anyways, he took them to the roof. Kakashi took them to the roof, and he asked everyone for their dreams, and Naruto would say that he wants to become Hokage one day. And Sakura, she says, how can an outsider like you become Hokage? Sakura doesn't like Naruto, as she thinks that after the first year, she thought that Naruto would always be challenging Sasuke, when she doesn't want that. And then now Naruto says that I'm technically part of the Leaf Village. I was born here. I was just taken out of it when I was a child. So don't get so if I do become Hokage, don't say I didn't warn you. And anyways, of course, uh, Sakura scoffs at the statement, at Naruto's audacity of even trying to become Hokage, as clearly she doesn't like him. And anywho, Kakashi told them to stop fighting, and he tells Naruto that that is a good dream. And anywho, the rest would have exactly the same dreams. And anywho, now Naruto, who is quite strong. The next day, actually, of course, they meet up for the belt test, and Naruto would be prepared for it. Once the belt test began, of course, Kakashi explains everything. Naruto would have actually created a clone to actually go fight Kakashi, sorry. And then he creates another clone, another two clones to go find his two teammates, as he realized what this belt test was about, and pretty much the two clones told the Sasuke and Sakura that he's going to be the decoy. It doesn't matter if they like him or not. He's going to be the decoy, and they have to take the bells somehow as soon as they see an opening. If they don't, Naruto will take the bells for himself, and he won't give them one. Of course, he's just lying. If he does take them himself, he'll give both of them one each, as he doesn't really care if he becomes part of this team, as he can still be a ninja individually. I mean, a solo ninja. And then now, anyways, now Of course, the two actually nod to Naruto's clones as Naruto pukes away, and now Naruto looks at Kakashi as he realizes that he has to actually fight, and he slams his pretty much both his hands onto the ground, and says, "Well, Sage Art told oil jutsu," and of course Kakashi's eyes widen as he says Sage Art, and Naruto has actually used his Todo Jutsu as while he was standing still, he was actually using this time to gather a little bit of nature energy, not too much, just enough for him to actually fight Kakashi on a bit of an equal level. Of course, he's not going to be an equal to Kakashi right now, but Naruto then actually was able to blitz Kakashi as he kicked him right in the gut as Kakashi went flying, and Naruto would then go in with a fireball jutsu, which would be amplified with the toad oil, which and would make the fireball really really strong. And Kakashi would see this coming right at him, and he knows that this fireball jutsu is very strong, as clearly Naruto uses a toad oil jutsu beforehand, and he actually creates a water wall, literally a water wall. He can't use his mud wall because his mud wall would get absolutely decimated by that jutsu, and then pretty much Kakashi and Naruto would look at each other as Kakashi would actually take down his mask, revealing his Sharingan for the first time to any students of his, in the belt test, as he realizes that, you know, Lord Jiraiya actually taught him very, very well, as clearly he has, he's not scared, he's ready for battle, he's prepared for battle, and his speed is amazing, literally. Naruto had some shocking speed right there, and anyways, now, if you get the reference from all those descriptions I gave, those are tags from Dokkan Battle, but that's just a little Easter egg. And anyways, now, of course, Naruto and Kakashi would go at it with taijutsu, as clearly Naruto's taijutsu was on a whole different level than a normal Genin's should be. And that was to be expected from, Jiraiya's godson, Jiraiya's adopted son. And Naruto's Naruto's uh, disguising, or not disguising, sorry, stealth ninjutsu would be pretty good, as Naruto would use the Toad Mist Jutsu, which he would create himself. Is literally him creating mist, but he called it Toad Mist Jutsu. And anywho, now, of course, Naruto would then disappear, and even with the Sharingan, Kakashi could not feel Naruto's chakra or where he went, and he was quite worried for a second. He's like, "God damn, where did he go? This might be dangerous." And of course, he felt a little sweat drop from his forehead, and he's like, "Oh god damn." And anywho, now Naruto actually appears behind Kakashi with fireball jutsu literally heading towards him, and Kakashi was caught off guard, and luckily, of course, for him, he was able to avoid the fireball jutsu last second, as clearly he would have done some serious damage to him, like literally. And anyway, now, of course, he still got burnt just a little bit, but still, it's better than being burnt fully, as clearly that fireball jutsu had some, had a punch, or he packed a punch. And anywho, now, of course, Naruto would then actually create an opening for Sasuke to take the bells, and Sasuke would actually do so, as he wouldn't let this opportunity go. And Naruto was like, "Ha, took you long enough, finally." And then looks to Kakashi and says, "Well, we've won, Kakashi Sensei. Is that enough?" And of course, Kakashi puts up his arms, and says, well done, guys. You guys pass. You worked together, a bit, and you were able to take the bells." And of course, Sakura would actually come out from the bush and celebrate that they won, although she did nothing. But we move. And anywho, now, of course, Naruto and Naruto would then go off on his own, as of course, Sasuke asked Naruto, "How is he this strong?" Naruto would just shrug it off and says, "Training, innit? Or training, just training," and he would wave by and disappear, as he actually used well, a body flicker that resembled the Bill Shisui's, as the speed of it was on a whole different level. But anyways, now Kakashi saw this and he was quite surprised that Naruto was this fast as well. He was very, very intrigued by his new students. He then smiled to himself, telling, of course, he actually explained why he had the Sharingan, or how he had it. He doesn't need to explain why he has it, but how he got it, because it's kind of weird. And although Uchiha Massacre Sasuke knows about it, Naruto even heard of it, Sakura heard of it too, so it'd be like, oh yo, did you steal it from some next body or something? But no, it's his friend gave it to him, and then now, of course, that friend being you know uh, Obito. Now we would go on to see Team 7 doing some missions for the next few weeks, and pretty much Naruto having a bit of fun here and there, but in reality, pretty much he really doesn't care, and he would gain that experience for no reason, pretty much, as he doesn't need it, to be honest. And now, of course, Naruto would then ask for a high rank mission to the Hokage, and the Hokage would accept, as he knows how strong Naruto is. Naruto has already been developing a new Rasengan, and now he already has two new developed ones. One with ice release, yes, ice release. You've heard that, right? And one with a fire release called the Scorching Rasengan, and the other one, the Freezing Rasengan. I'm pretty sure you can tell which one's which one's fire and which one's ice. If not, I'll just say it now. The Freezing Rasengan is actually the fire release one, and the fire release one is the Scorching Rasengan. And anywho, now it's called sarcasm. And anywho, now I know I'm not funny. Please don't bully me. Naruto would then go on to actually, Team 7 would then actually go on to meet Tarzan, as Tarzan actually made fun of Sakura for being the shortest here, and Sakura, of course, pretty much ready to punch him, as you know, as you do. But of course, Naruto tells her that he's the client. If she dares punch him, the client, their mission will be blown, and if they have to stop, if they can't do this mission because of her, he'll be very upset with her. And she knows that Naruto's quite strong, of course, so she's not going to, and she doesn't hate Naruto anymore. She never really hated Naruto in the first place, but of course, she doesn't want to piss him off, as she knows how strong he is, clearly, from what she saw with, Kakashi's bell test little thing. And then now, of course, now the next day, Team 7 would go on to do their mission, and take Tazuna to the land of waves. And pretty much Naruto was quite excited for this, as he actually was he was like a kid going to a candy shop. But anyways, of course, he was really, really looking forward to this mission. And of course, Sakura never really understood what Naruto found in doing missions, or found fun in doing missions. That they seemed like more of a chore, but in reality, Naruto loved doing missions because of Jiraiya actually taking him to missions when he was a little kid. Taking him here and there to a few missions, not all missions that he had, because clearly some of them were on a whole different level of danger, and he was like, yeah, maybe Naruto's not ready for that yet. And anywho, now, of course, Naruto and Team 7 would then meet up the next morning and go to their mission. Of course, the mission wasn't going to be easy, because it is a C rank, or I say C rank, but it's not really a C rank. Clearly, it's a much higher, it's a much more dangerous mission. And anyway, Team 7 would actually do notice, Naruto, Sasuke, and Kakashi, except for Sakura and Tasuna, would notice that there's a puddle in the middle of the spring, where it hasn't been raining at all for a long while, and for at least a month. And now there is a random puddle there. Like how? Of course, they knew that this was someone actually using it as a transformation jutsu, and of course, the two demon bros are come out, and yeah, Naruto actually did help out Sasuke, and together they were able to take them out as Kakashi faked his death. Anywho, of course, Naruto and Team Seven would actually, well, Kakashi would come back and from the dead. I'm joking, but he'd come back and pretty much ask them what they're after, and you would find out that Azan was lying. And in the end, Team Seven would still argue about taking the mission or not, and in the end, they would take it because Kakashi couldn't be asked arguing with Naruto. Now they would take the mission on, and they would come across Zabuza, and the first fight with Zabuza would go a bit similar to the original until Kakashi gets trapped in the water prison. Here, Naruto actually runs up against Zabuza and takes on his clone, and he easily destroys it. And yes, easily, as the clone wasn't strong enough. And Zabuza saw Naruto's, coming at him and then disappearing from his vision, as Naruto used a body flicker and was right next to him now, and kicked him, or kicked him with the back of his heel, or the back heel, right in the right on the side of the face, and kicked him away from the water prison, and pretty much he broke Kakashi out of the water prison. Kakashi recovered instantly and told Naruto that he'll take it on from here, and Naruto says go on. And of course, in the end, as you of course, the kick was quite strong, and Zabuza was having a hard time getting back up from it because he was startled. He was actually dazed for a few seconds there, and also he was more stunned than anything because Naruto used a little bit of a lightning release in his kick to actually paralyze him a bit. In fact, if Naruto used a lot more power there, he could have actually, cracked his skull or something. But anyways, then Haku comes in for to rescue Zabuza, as clearly he was about to get, Chidori'd. And now, Team 7 would still go to Tazeno's house, and Kakashi would rest for a week and train Sasuke and Sakura. As Naruto already knew everything, he would be training on his own and meeting Haku as well. Meanwhile, while Team 7 was, training, or actually waiting for Naruto to have dinner. Naruto was actually talking to Haku as he was asleep most of the day because of how tired he was, and pretty much he waved goodbye and went to Thousand and so on. That same night, Naruto would have that little argument with Inari, telling him that he didn't have parents either. Someone else took him in. He should be grateful that he even grew up with parents. He's not saying that he's not grateful. He's not saying that he had a bad childhood, but still, there are people out there who have worse childhoods than him, and he should fight harder and to make his father proud. Inari would be inspired by Naruto and pretty much start, becoming stronger to protect his mother and everything. And Naruto says that if they ever want to return, well, if not Inari ever wants to become a ninja, they can come to the Leaf Village, and Inari begs his mother to do it. And so, then when of course, they would set off on a journey to return to the Leaf Village with Team 7 once the bridge was built. Of course, they would still go to the bridge, and Naruto would actually wake up late that day, because he was extremely tired after all the training and still after that nap. No, throughout the day he still was tired, and then he wakes up to the screaming of Inari and his mother, and Inari, had the courage to actually attack. But Naruto comes in by throwing a kunai and teleporting to it. And sorry, no, sorry. That was an accident. Naruto comes in by teleporting there by using body flicker and pretty much taking out the two bandits. And Naruto tells Inari that he'll become a great ninja if he ever wants to. And of course, he remembers that they're coming in, so he says that he will become a great ninja and he will help him out on that department. And anyway, Naruto would then go to Team 7 as he saw Sasuke being in the trapped in the mirrors, and here Naruto would actually use a little bit of the Ninetales chakra to actually break through the mirrors and let Sasuke out, as then he was trapped in the mirrors, and Naruto would take on Haku. And pretty much once Haku was defeated by Naruto because he was using a little bit of the chakra of the Ninetales, and Haku was very suppressed. Haku would tell him everything about Zabuza, and Naruto saw Kakashi pretty much about to kill Zabuza, and right before Haku could even react, Naruto would actually have reacted much faster and kicked Kakashi away, telling him that there's no point of killing them. They've lost. How about you let them go, or bring them to the Leaf Village to make them Leaf Shinobi? And of course, Kakashi was confused, and Naruto asked Zabuza, and blah blah blah. You know how he goes in this channel. Of course, Zabuza would accept, and after seeing Haku's, face, pretty much Haku had so much like you know, excitement when Naruto said that, when Naruto even brought it up, and Kakashi thought that it wasn't a bad idea, and so they went along with it. And in the end, of course, there was a little bit of a big, uh, you know, party traveling back to the Leaf Village. And anyway, now, of course, the bridge was built, and it was called the Great Alliance Bridge. And Tarzan and his family would join the Leaf Village, and so would the Zabas and Haku. Now, the Demon Brothers were nowhere to be found. I guess they just escaped. I kind of felt bad for the Demon Brothers. We never really saw them ever again. But I hope they had a good life by actually escaping and giving up being a ninja and just having a good civilian life. And anywho, I hope we see them one little bit in Naruto, but in Boruto, not Naruto, and anywho now, because Naruto and Naruto Shippuden are finished. And anywho, uh, the Hokage would accept them into the Leaf Village, and here Sasuke would be quite jealous of Naruto's strength and speed, and so he would ask Kakashi for training for the 2 weeks before the Chunin exams. As Naruto came to find out from Shikamaru and them lot, and he actually, told Kakashi to maybe tell them earlier and not have his friends tell him about it. And Kakashi decided to, hold a meeting until the other two, and Naruto was there too. And once the other two left, or was Naruto and Sakura, of course Kakashi would accept Sasuke as his student. Now, that is where I'm going to end off. Hope you'll enjoy it. Please take care, stay safe. This was the King of Weebs there. I will be covering the next part, the junior exams, and the end of part 1 Naruto in the next part. I know it was only a half an hour video, but it's quite late. It's 12:30, and I kind of want to relax. I have a few things to do. I'll probably revise a little bit as well. Maybe a page and or two, or maybe three of chemistry. And anyways, hope you enjoyed it. Please take care, stay safe. This was the King of Weebs, and peace.